When the Fight for Canada party launches in the next month or so, the first rule of the party is going to be fight for Canada, stand up for Canada, or get the fuck out. I think that the vast majority of Canadians are so goddamn sick of seeing a government that spends billions and billions of dollars on bringing immigrants into the country, that spends billions and billions of dollars in so-called overseas aid, at the same time as the standard of living in Canada continues to get worse and worse and worse. It's undeniable. We need a government, a governing body that actually says our job, our primary responsibility is to improve the life of the great Canadian people. I am not elected Prime Minister of the world. I am elected Prime Minister of a specific and great group of people who fought valiantly, were always known as the most courageous soldiers. You read about the Canadians fighting at Vimy Ridge, World War II, World War I on Remembrance Day. The Canadians were always known as the most courageous, valiant fighters. They fought for this land. Our ancestors fought to defend this land and the values that we hold so dear. And now, today, we have a government that literally prefers foreigners to its own goddamn citizens. They go after every single special interest group except for Canadian citizens. They are globalists who, no exaggeration, hate native-born Canadians. It's obvious in the budgets that they release, where they carve out billions of dollars for LGBT, for Indigenous, for immigrants, for every group of people except Canadian citizens. The vast majority of us know longtime Canadians who, whether it be struggling with abuse, they have a legitimate, terrible disability, and they can barely scrounge together $600 a month from the government. Meanwhile, the government just announced they had rented out 1,400 hotel rooms over an 18-month period for immigrants to live in. Immigrants are eligible for up to $283 a day. We are literally, at the same time as our healthcare system is overrun, advertising our free healthcare. Across the world, there are ads, I kid you not, running on social media that talk about Canadians' free healthcare. At the same time as it's estimated up to 70,000 excess Canadians are dying a year thanks to our overrun healthcare system. It's about time somebody stand up and say, Canada first or get the fuck out. If you think Canada is some sort of an oppressive, evil Western country, get the fuck out. This country will not survive if we have self-hating people who keep telling us how terrible we are and how we're oppressors and how we're colonizers. No, you're full of shit. There are settlers. There was nothing here until our ancestors came and built a civilization on this land. And we are goddamn done. Canadians are finished with apologizing for ourselves. There's nothing to apologize for. We have built an incredible country. Our ancestors built the greatest country in the world, and we are not going to be sold out by a bunch of self-hating politicians, by a dead-eyed bug like Mark Carney, who wants to sell the Canadian people out, talk about how terrible we are all the time. Now they're stealing Canadians' homes because they're on so-called Indigenous land. They're culling Canadians ostriches because they say they have some Aryan flu. Total BS. The story's absolutely devastating. They're passing bills like C8, C9 that say if you criticize them on immigration, if you spew out speech that they do not like, they can jail you. They can cut your internet service. This is the most anti-Canadian government I've ever seen in my life. It's estimated that they have spent at least $10 billion in the past 5 years alone housing immigrants. How can you possibly justify that when over 2 million Canadians can't afford to feed themselves? Now it's getting cold out. A lot of us know homeless Canadians who literally have to live out on the streets right now and they can't get any aid from their government, but the government can give $283 a month to immigrants. It's sick. It's sick. And it's time that Canadians stand up and fought back. This is bullshit what's going on in this country. This is absolute insanity. The Liberal Party of Canada hates Canadians with a passion. I don't know what their issue is. I mean, you can tell, obviously, looking at a lot of them, they have serious issues. Mark Carney, that dead-eyed bug who has a lot of pictures standing directly beside Ghislaine Maxwell, the most notorious sex trafficker in US history, who also sent his young child to Tavistock. Look into Tavistock, a totally discredited institution. And look at the way he condescendingly speaks to the media. He hasn't even spent his adult life in Canada. He feels no passion for Canada. He's looting us and he hates our country. This guy is not passionate about Canada whatsoever. He hasn't even spent his adult life, any of his adult life, in Canada. Then you look at the rest of the crew, whether it be Anita Anand, Sean Fraser, bunch of creeps around him who hate this country. Anita Anand up there cheering like crazy for Hamas. It's about time that we have a Canadian government that actually stands up and says, our primary responsibility is not to the world. We're not elected government of the world. There's no mandate for us to bring in 1.5 million people a year, despite the fact that it is indisputably economically terrible for native-born Canadians. No, it's time to have a party that says either Canada first, you either put Canada first as a country or get the fuck out. I'm sorry to, not trying to be rude putting it that way, but we need somebody who's gonna fucking put their foot down and say enough of this Canada Western hating BS. Our ancestors built the most beautiful country in the world. We're not going to just give it away by a bunch of the values of free speech, right to self-determination, sovereignty. Free speech is the bedrock of Western civilization. So of course, what are they going after immediately with Bill C-8, Bill C-9? Our ability as Canadians to speak our mind. But we don't cow to these cowards. We don't shrink in front of these mental midgets who want to destroy our incredible Western civilization, which is why when Fight for Canada, I now, thank you so much everybody who registered. I have the 250 signatures that are needed. I now need to submit a bunch of paperwork to Elections Canada, which has been done. And then within 30 to 60 days, I'll hear back, have the Canada officially up and running, Fight for Canada party, so that we can actually have somebody with some weight behind them going out and calling out just how destructive these crooks are to the great Canadian people, and fighting back, because we do have a fight on our hands. These globalists want to tear and strip this country down through mass immigration, through their woke ideology. We need to stand up and say no, enough is enough. Please like, share, subscribe, join, become a member, donate, grab some gear. Really appreciate everybody who supports. And yeah, I'm going to be coming out with more concrete steps for the Fight for Canada party very soon.